Hello, lovelies. Welcome to Crystals and Coffee. Thank you for joining me. I am back in my car this week, so apologise for any background noise. I've got the windows open, so otherwise I will cook in here. So there might be some wind, there might be some cars driving by, but this again, best place I can manage this week. So yeah, back in the car, and I hope you've had a good week. Things seem to be changing all the time everywhere at the moment, so who knows what's coming from one week to the next. It seems here more and more things are kind of going back to normal, or that new normal we spoke about last week. And there's more people out and about. There's definitely more traffic on the road. There's definitely more people walking around. So I'm glad that I've finally, our family's masks have arrived. I don't know if you saw the picture on my social media of my fabulous RuPaul's Drag Race mask that says sachet away on it, and it's bright pink. Very me. So I'm straight after this, I'm off to the bank in that. So I am very excited to show that off. Bank and supermarket. Yep. Back up 6 feet, please. So yeah. I wanted to talk about this week about how we can, now that we are starting to move around and we're encountering a lot more people and there's a lot more going on and everything else, especially here, pubs and restaurants and everything will reopen on Saturday, so that will be interesting. That, going to the pub, well, that's a British institution. That's not been possible for a few months, so there will be so many people wanting to get back to the pub, bars, restaurants, coffee shops, me included. I mean, it's I've really missed going for a drink. It's just it's part and parcel of everyday life here. So, but I'm under no illusions that it's going to be different. It's not going to be, I mean, for instance, we're not allowed to go up to the bar. You have to sit at a table. You have to, some places where it's going to be all app based. One of my favorite places to go, it's you go down, you sit down, you download an app, you order everything on the app, and someone brings it to your table, so that that it limits the risk of people interacting with each other. So it's going to be different, but I am looking forward to getting out there and embracing it a little bit. It's very windy, isn't it? I might have to close the windows. So otherwise I think this is going to get a bit of an issue. Let me, my ignition on. Windows going up, can you hear that? There we go. Okay. Oh, no. Right, back with you, sorry. Okay, I've closed the windows now, so engine noise, everything stopped. Just gonna have to put up with the heat for a little while. So yeah, it's gonna be great to try and get back out there, socialize with friends, and do all those normal things that we're so used to doing. And so there's so much advice out there about how to protect yourself. But all of it is on a physical basis. So we are wearing masks, we're social distancing. I know that those distances vary from place to place and wherever you are. Here at the moment it's a metre. I prefer it if it's a complete stranger to still stay the 2 meters apart. It just feels more comfortable. But when I'm with friends and family, a metre I feel fine with. We're hand sanitizing. There's hand sanitize stations at the entrance of every shop. Partway round shops, there's certainly going to be them in bars and restaurants and cafes. There's definitely going to be all of that. All of these things that are with markers on the floor, perspex screens around people who are serving you. All of these things have been implemented to protect us from, and quite rightly, to protect us from the virus. Protect people from getting sick, or for too many people getting sick at the same time and overwhelming the whole system. So there's loads of it out there, and we know what steps to take. I know to sanitize my hands, I know to wear a mask in public places, and I know to stay away from people. We all know that, unless you've been living in a cave. We all know that. So, but there's nothing really, well, certainly nothing mainstream that I've tapped into. I mean, I've read a few articles online and things like that, but there's nothing to say about, well, how are we going to we need to protect ourselves mentally and emotionally through this. For some people, they haven't been out for 3 months and they've been shielding because they've been high risk. And the government have said, oh, well, come August, you don't have to shield anymore. You can come out if you want. And that's not because the virus is gone, that the risk is eliminated. It's that enough people are not getting sick at the same time now that if a high-risk person were to get sick, they can get the care they need because the hospitals aren't overwhelmed and such like. So if you are a high-risk person, now I'm not, so I can't understand how this feels. But from an outside perspective, I would imagine it could be quite the conflict between, well, I'd like to go out now because I've not seen anyone, I've not been doing anything for 3 months, 4 months now, probably, it's what it's come to. But the risk isn't eliminated, it's not gone. And there are plenty of people out there who are not wearing masks and are not sanitizing their hands and are not obeying the one-way systems and doing whatever the freaking hell they like because they feel so entitled to do so. But that's, that's their business. I just, keep my distance, basically. But if you're a high-risk person, that isn't as simple as that. It's not as simple as saying, oh, well, I'll just stay away from them. It's worrying. And or even if you've not been high risk and you have been following the rules to the letter and you've locked down and you've stayed away and you've not been to the shops, and all of a sudden you're allowed to again, and all of a sudden you think, well, actually, I think I do want to. It can be a very overwhelming experience of putting yourself out there in what has been a very anxious place to be, a dangerous place to be on the virus level, to then all of a sudden think, oh, well, I'm going to start walking around now and try and adapt. It's a very big shock to the system. Now, for me, I was going out every week. I was going to grocery shopping. I was doing shopping for my grandparents and everything. So I was out there in the midst of all the measures. I wasn't working. I'm not a key worker. My mother is a key worker. My uncle was a key worker. My brother-in-law's a key worker, and they carried on and they worked throughout the entire thing. So for them, definitely. For me, to a lesser extent, I've become used to these procedures, and now that it's all easing, for me it seems it's quite lax now. But for someone who's not been out there and not been in the midst of it, it still must seem very, very strange, because they've gone from what they knew back in March to the procedures now with no in between, and they're like, oh, this is really alien to me, and it can make them anxious. People are having panic attacks, people are getting very emotional because all of a sudden it's like they've got to deal with this whole unknown landscape that they're not used to. And as much as you can protect yourself physically with all of these physical measures like the masks and sanitizer, etc., there isn't a lot out there or advice out there for protecting yourself mentally and emotionally, for putting yourself out there. And for some people that's extremely scary and extremely risky, and some obviously opting to stay at home, and some people haven't got a choice. They've got to get out there and start mixing. So I just, that's what I've gone off into one of my rants again, haven't I? I've done it again. This whole issue is so still, as much as it would appear now that the government wants to play it down, like, oh, we're through the worst of it, everything's fine. It's not. It's still very prevalent in society. It is still very much there in our faces. And they can choose to try and ignore it, or trying to distract us and get us to ignore it, but it's not going to help. And in the end, people end up feeling disillusioned and left alone to fight a battle that it would appear that maybe the powers that be have given up on. So it bothers me a lot. So and I feel like I'm kind of powerless to make a massive difference, except for those who are around me, and maybe you guys who listen to me, about talking about that it's okay. It's still okay to not be okay with this. Yes, lockdown is easing. That doesn't mean if people say to you, oh, back to normal now, you can just get used to it. It's not as simple as that. It's like, yes, of course I know I've got to get used to it. I'm not stupid. but it's not as easy as, oh, I'm just going to get used to it. Oh yeah, of course, yeah, I'll be fine. It's not as easy as that. It's going to take time, and it's going to take a process, just as how it took time and it took a process to get used to it being locked down. It's going to take time and a process to get used to it being an unlockdown. So don't be ashamed of that. Don't be concerned that you still don't want to do anything, that you still don't want to go to the shops, you certainly aren't going to be going to a pub. That's fine. If you're not comfortable with it, then it's okay. You don't have to. You need to do things at your own pace and not feel forced into doing it. And you need to do what's right for you and what helps you feel safe. If you do need to go out into these places, or you have to, or you work in these places that are all reopening, and you're all of a sudden being told you're going to be thrust out there in front of the masses, then you could be quite rightly very anxious about it all. And I just wanted to, and I know that if you're listening to this, then obviously you are in tune with energy healing, and you obviously enjoy to use crystals and energy and grounding, and you may be a bit of an empath. Like me, you just suck in negative energy unwantedly, and then you end up feeling drained. You need to protect yourself. So I wanted to just talk about this alongside your mask and your hand sanitizer. There are some other things that you may want to start carrying around with you, and some other things that you can use to help you transition into going back out, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to talk about some crystals first and foremost, because that's what I love. So there are a number of crystals that I've talked about time and time again, that are particularly relevant right now, and they are all that I've picked ones that are really easy to get hold of. They're really common. It's nothing too obscure that you're going to think, oh my god, where am I going to get that from? You may even have these in your collection. So when it comes to protecting yourself from others' negative energy, because there's still a lot of frustration out there, there's still a lot of people who are anxious about being outside and get a bit frustrated, and they take it out on other people, and then you take that on and it upsets you, and then you don't feel like it, and it's just a horrible negative cycle that begins. So you want to protect your energy, particularly if you're quite empathetic. So you need to use crystals like black tourmaline, like black obsidian, like smoky quartz, whichever of those black crystals you feel most drawn to, because they're all essentially going to do a similar job for you in this situation, in protecting your energy and either absorbing the negative energy from others or helping you rebound it, bounce it back off, and it not stick to you, basically. So these are things that you can carry around with you if you've got them in tumblestone form. You may want to keep them really close to you in a form of jewellery. You may want to keep them in your bra, really, really close to you. Or you may want to just keep them in your purse, in your pocket, handbag, however you feel protected, basically. This is going to protect your energy with that. And if you are going out a lot, or if you're working in retail, for example, and you're going to be coming up against people's energies all day, every day, lots of different people, you're going to want to cleanse and charge these crystals pretty much after every working shift, every day, because otherwise it's going to very quickly get clogged. So that's really simple. I mean, if you're taking some tourmaline with you and helping to protect your energy, then at the end of the day, rinse it off under some running water, let it cleanse, pat it dry, and leave it on the windowsill overnight to be charged under the moon. Doesn't have to be a full moon, doesn't have to be direct moonlight. Just leave it out, either outside if you can, or on your windowsill, which is what I do, and let it charge up, ready for the next day. That way you're going to be getting the best of that crystal every day. A crystal that can be really helpful for your own mindset. Now we're moving into protecting you mentally, in the sense that you may be feeling really, really anxious, you may be feeling stressed, tense, worrying about everything, about being out there, about loved ones being out there, still being in risk. Maybe people around you aren't doing as much as they could do and you're feeling a bit vulnerable, then it can send you into a bit of a stressed state, a bit of an anxious state, and it's not a nice state to be in. So amethyst can help really well with this, and I use amethyst all the time. I have issues with anxiety, and amethyst is like my best buddy when it comes to crystals. It's my favorite. It's a crystal that I really tune in well with. It's my birthstone. It's my favorite one. So if you have some amethyst, again, it's keeping it with you as close as possible, and keeping it with you on your person. If you're able to steal some quiet time where you can hold it to your third eye, to your brow chakra, and just let that energy soothe your mind, can be really helpful. If you can't do it when you're out and about, then maybe when you get home or before you need to face the outside world, you can do the same thing. Hold it to your brow chakra, take some deep breaths, just calm, center yourself, and just let your mind absorb that energy. I've already spoken about smoky quartz, but again, that's a protective stone, and it can also help with anxiety in a similar way to amethyst. Citrine is a wonderful stone for positivity. So if you want to be able to feel positive and motivated and uplifted and okay with being outside and feeling like I'm going to get through this, I'm going to be good, I'm going to be fine, something just keep pushing you, then citrine is a great energy to have with you. In the same way, have it on your person. You can use it in the mornings before leaving for work or before you're going out. I wouldn't say it's one to use before bed because it's quite an uplifting, quite a vibrant energy, so probably not in a place you want to be energetically if you're trying to sleep. But amethyst will work well at bedtime if you want to use that for anxiety, same as smoky quartz. But citrine is a very uplifting, positive stone, so give that one a try. And then the fifth stone I'm talking about today is fluorite, particularly purple fluorite. It's another stone that's really lovely in the sense that the purple links again with your brow chakra, so it could help with focusing your mind. It also is a very well-known stone to be used for antiviral. So if you're feeling like you want to just give yourself it's not like, I'm going to say, it's not a medical antiviral, so it's by no means protecting you from the virus, but if your energy states and everything, it's going to help you feel stronger. It's going to help you feel like an inner strength thing when all of this is around, and kind of give you that energy boost if you're with somebody who's sick, or if you're sick yourself. Fluorite is a really good booster from when you are poorly with a virus, so try out some fluorite for that. So in addition to obviously using these crystals as and when you need them, or whenever you go out, for example, there's just some things to remember, because we are going to come into contact with people that are frustrating or we don't agree with, and we just think you just want to move away from them. And that is, if you're able to, then that's the best thing to do, is just remove yourself from the situation and think about yourself first. But there's always deep breaths, there's always grounding yourself. So if you need to go back to your car and sit yourself down, close your eyes, maybe you want to hold one of the crystals that you've got with you, take some deep breaths and just let yourself settle and center, so that you're not gonna maybe get too emotional, or you want to sit in your car and have a good cry and let it all out. Then you do what you need to do. And the ultimate thing to remember as well is that there are going to be people that you just think, oh my god, they just don't get it, is to remember it's not your circus, they're not your monkeys, they are not your responsibility, they are their own responsibility. You can only do as much as you can do for you and the others around you. Be safe in that knowledge, and try not to take on the energy from those other people, because it's not going to do you any good. It really isn't. So I know that again it's like half rant, half crystals again today, but I just think it's something that's still so in the forefront of everybody's minds. Like, it would be so easy to look at the news now and just see it's just like, well, it's still there, right? It hasn't gone. We've not eradicated this virus. And the more things that open and the more relaxed things get, the more complacent people are going to get. And unfortunately, that could lead to some pretty bad consequences. So I hope that we're all on the same page, that we still need to be vigilant. We need to protect ourselves and each other physically, and we need to protect ourselves mentally and emotionally. We can't let this whole situation consume us. It wouldn't do us any good. It won't do our loved ones any good. So we need to be strong, and the tuning into our energies and digging deep with our energies and bringing our energies to the table, that we can do that. So I hope that you've enjoyed this week, and maybe I've resonated with some of you. Maybe some of you don't agree with me. That's totally understandable as well. There's so many different personal takes on this whole situation, but again, just wanted to start the conversation and bring to some togetherness to those of us who really want to beat this, but also finding it very hard to put it into words, which is very unusual for me. But I just want to bring us together, basically, and know that we are going to get through it, and we can get through it the best we can. So if you want to chat in the comments, you want to ask me any questions, you want to tell me what you think, then the comments are there. My socials are there. My Instagram is there. This also goes out on an audio only video on YouTube as well. Comment section's there. All of those things are there for us to start having a conversation. So thank you so much for sticking with me with my rant today, and I hope maybe that using some of those crystals and techniques will help you. I know that they're helping me, and yeah, so just thank you so much for your continued support. Thank you so much to my patrons who are members of Crystals and Coffee over on Patreon. If you want to know more about that, the link is in the description. And I'd also like to say that I've put out some new online services on my website. If you go to katiebatt.com, there are now options there to select an online crystal reading, an online crystal oracle card reading, or to have your own personalized crystal grid created by me. No appointment times are necessary. You just go ahead and select the service that you want, and then I prepare it for you, and I will email you a detailed video of your reading, and you'll receive, for example, for the grids, you'll receive templates and full instructions, and the crystals as well, if you so choose. So I'm really excited to start offering these online services to reach people a lot further afield, just not in my local vicinity. It's what I love to do. I love to help people tune into their crystals and their cards as well, and kind of tune into their own intuition and their energy as well, and by giving them a place to start. So have a look at that. The link to my website is in the description as well, to katiebatt.com, and I will be back again next week. So in the meantime, take care, guys. Love you lots. Speak soon. Bye.